Hello and welcome. You're watching a special edition of Agenda. I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor, and today we come to you from a classroom, the good old Pathshala. Remember the time when you gave your board exams, class 10th and class 12th, the nerves, the extra classes, the peer pressure, and most of all, to go back home with that coveted percentage. Well, if ICSE has its way, starting next year, that is 2018, even class 5 and class 8 are going to be board exams. Yes, you heard it right. That means a student as young as 10-year-old will be giving their exams. It's a story that's got huge interest by students, teachers, and we're joined by all of them here today, and we'll try and get that perspective. But before we begin, let me just tell you what exactly has the ICSE board suggested. The CEO yesterday held a press conference in which he said that the new assessment will test the learning of the students and prepare them for competition at an early stage. This means at 5 and 8 before they actually go out to give their board exams in 10th and 12th. There will also be no pass-fail tax because of the RTE, the Right to Education's no detention policy, but it will be implemented from nursery onwards. That means there will be a standardized course. He also says that school teachers will be evaluated on this. It's a test, and people and students who perform particularly poor will not be a reflection on them, but actually the teachers who are teaching them. So huge story there. There's also a clause which says that from from class nursery to class 5, you'll have to study Sanskrit, yoga, and also physical education. So lots of things and a way in which this program will be changing. Before we begin, let me just introduce our panel tonight. I've got here with me parents and teachers. I've got Bhavna here with her child. On the other side, I've got Kapila. I've got Vandana Gautam on this side, amongst other people. Joining us in Delhi is going to be Usha, who's a career counsellor, and also from Gurgaon, we've got Anita Makar, who's a principal of the school. I also have Poonam from Bangalore, but we'll try and see if she can join us anytime soon. I want to begin with whom the story affects first, these kids that you see right here. Tell me, how old are you and which standard are you in?
I'm in 12th class, I'm in 7th class.
You're in 7th class and you're 12 years old. Okay, what about you?
I'm the student of Sacred School in Bombay, and then I'm in 7th standard and I'm 12 years old.
All right. So do you guys know about the board exams? You could potentially be giving the exams next year. How does that make you feel?
Exams are good, but board exams are gonna be very scary.
It's scary?
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
Because it gives us so stress and it makes our mind burst. That's why.
What about you? What do you have to say about the board exams?
The board exams will make the students basics, and if in just I said 5th and 8th are the basic learnings. 8th is for 9th and 10th, and 5th is for 6th and 7th. So if board exams came, the basic will be all
Well, you're sounding like an expert already, but tell me, do you guys fear the fact that there will be too much pressure on you guys if you have to give board exams just next year?
You say that we will not fail, we will be
You will pass anyways, yeah.
pass anyways. But there would be a lot of pressure, like peer pressure, parental pressure, you have to be passed, and then it will be an exhaustion. First we will say that we have to do that exam, I will learn it, and then the next stage is of exhaustion.
So no fun and only exams, that's going to take your time. So you heard from the kids there. We also have Poonam Batra from Bangalore, and I want to start with Poonam. Poonam, we were discussing earlier as well that this program in a way puts the pressure back on the child right at the age of class 10th. Is it really healthy?
Yes, absolutely not. In fact, not only is this kind of move violative of the RTE, even if they claim that they will not pass or fail any student, the question is that children as young as 10 years within the primary years and upper primary years need to be given adequate developmental opportunities to learn. So learning experiences are far more important at that age than learning outcomes. It seems to be that the focus is on learning outcomes, which is quite absurd. So there will be psychological pressure on these children, and I doubt if places of learning can be joyful anymore with this kind of pressure.
Right, more pressure on the students. Discussing pressure, we also have Usha in the Delhi studio. Ma'am, you've been somebody who's been giving career guidance, even counseling to students. What exactly does it mean? I remember my time in the board exams. We were all under so much stress. This was the time we were taken out from extracurricular activities, put into extra classes, after school and otherwise. Imagine class 5 students. Although, you know, the flip side is the board says they're doing it only to prepare them for the future. But is that really going to happen?
I think there is something going wrong somewhere. We seem to have lost the plot as far as education is concerned. I mean, doesn't a school, the regular school learning and the tests, aren't those adequate to test a student as what they've learnt and not learnt? Why do they need a board exam at that early age? You know, we don't look at the kind of changes that need to be put into the curriculum, into the examination and the way it is conducted. And we're bringing in tinkering around with these kind of, I think, which are, you know, not even correct moves for any board to take up. I really do not think that this will actually help education or the learning of any of the students.
Well, we've had very few people who are actually talking in favor of this move, but we did contact the ICSE board. We could not get a word from them. And basically, the sketches, you know, the fine print of this is really sketchy at the moment. But I want to open it up to the second most, you know, people who will be impacted on this, the parents. Are you prepared to put your child through a board exam? I mean, your son is how old?
He's 11 years right now.
Yeah.
He will have 2 years before he goes through his board.
Yeah.
Now.
And you're feeling the stress already?
Well, I mean, it's a really a double-edged sword, because as a parent, I really want him to explore what his talents are, what he wants to do. So he does various extracurriculars right now. He goes for drums and golf and guitar. And if I don't stop it, then the question is, am I sort of, you know, setting him up for a peer pressure failure of, oh my God, you did not study for boards and you're still doing guitar. I mean, where is that going to take you? And if I do stop it and he still doesn't do so well, and he's going to feel like, you know, we were talking earlier, like, why am I being put under this? My own parents are doing this. So I
what
think
do you have to say? No golf and no drums. That's what your mother says, if that's what board exams are going to get you?
I think that's just pathetic.
It's just pathetic. What do you want to do? What would you rather do?
I would rather just sit for normal exams and not have peer pressure. It makes us like, it makes us compete with our friends, and I just don't like that.
You want to be with them and not compete with them. You know, we were discussing this earlier on how this is going to be one system where there is so much competition right from the beginning. Is it really healthy? That's what I was trying to understand from the panelists as well. Is it really healthy to put your child through that? Are parents prepared for that?
I mean, not at all, because if you look at the skills that now in this age that are required, collaboration is one of the key skills, along with sort of imaginative thinking and critical thinking, etc. And to study for just a test and crack that test, we've all seen that that's not been the way that people have become more innovative or
But
done
other
that.
schools, I believe, they don't even have class tests till the 8th standard. So all of a sudden, you don't have regular or periodical tests, but you now have a board.
That's exactly true for the school that we belong to. They have a very comprehensive method of evaluation. Every participation in the class, everything is evaluated, and we get a very good profile of the child at the end of every semester. But there are no standardized tests. However, now for students who are in class 4th or in class 7th, like we just spoke to a couple of them, the immediate year will not even have any time to prepare for, okay, how do you switch from one method of learning to a completely different method of learning? What is the hurry? Why don't we have a debate and a dialogue around it? And actually,
What is the hurry? I also have, very quickly, I want to get a perspective from you. You just gave your board exams. How many days back was that?
It was a month ago.
It was a month ago. And how did it go?
They were pathetic, to be really honest. Like, I thought I will not score good, but in the end, since it was not a typical board exam, it was school exams, I ended up scoring good percentage. But to be really honest, they do give you pressure, even if you know that they are not.
What
like,
do you mean by pressure? Like, what is it? Is it coming from home? Is it coming from peers? Or is it coming from teachers?
It comes from everywhere. So all the doors are closed. So
You are judged?
Yeah, you are judged. Like, so as soon as I give my exams, you know, they open the stages for, you know, the people to judge me. Every time I, you know, tell that I've just given my 10th grade exams, they are like, okay, so what was the percentage? So they don't ask me if I have scored a goal in my football match, but they will definitely ask me if I have scored
What
goal in
was
my...
your board percentage? That's
Percentage,
definitely that's something
absolutely.
they'll ask you. Okay, I have lots of students here. With a show of hands, all of you are either in the board examination, you know, bracket, or will be giving them or have given them. How many of you are in favor of having boards in 5th and 8th standard? Okay. How many of you don't want board examinations in 5th and 8th standard? Wow, not even one person who wants to have it in their examination. I also have Abhishek with me, who's standing by with some students. Abhishek, quickly want to understand with you. You are with people who have given their board exams and don't really want the same drill to carry on to their juniors.
Absolutely, Sonal. Like, in fact, Usha said, that why board exams for kids who are so young? We seem to have lost the plot in education, something which we were told by a lot of experts we spoke with, including principals, teachers, and others. So now here with me, I have the Delhi toppers, Shagun and Ojasvi. I also have with me a couple of students who will be taking their board exams next year. So I want to start with, you know, these two. The results have just come out, so congratulations. Thank you. How relieved do you feel, you know, all this pressure of board exams which was on you, you've put that behind you, and of course now the next race starts, which is college admissions. But was it a very tough task, a very difficult task?
It is definitely a big relief that it's now over, and it was a big task at that time, but now when I look at it, I realize that it's something that everybody goes through, and it was a passage of life.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's a big relief, definitely.
A passage of life. Right. Shagun, you know, taking it from what Ojasvi just said, so what makes it such a pressure situation for students?
I think one of the things is that up until 11th grade, you've never really faced exams in which there are tough questions, in which there is a tough syllabus. And moreover...
Also, would you say it's a bit of a public performance? Everyone's waiting for your result, not just you?
That's true, but I don't think that makes much of a difference. Another factor is that 12th board exams are the first time when the entire syllabus of the year comes out.
Right.
Because all the exams that you give are only half-term syllabus.
Right.
So this is the time when you have a huge load of syllabus coming out. And
right.
that's what lends to the difficulty of the task.
Right. Okay. To my right, you will be appearing in the board exams next year. Of course, I mean, CBSE's decided to scrap the 10th board exams, and you guys perhaps benefited. Did you feel relieved that you didn't have to appear in boards after all in standard 10th?
Not particularly, because I was personally looking forward to taking boards, but the fact that they weren't compulsory is the reason I just, you know, chickened out of it. But
right.
It would have been a good experience, I think, at least for 10th grade.
Okay. What about you?
Good
So
experience and not divided views
either,
there,
and,
Abhishek, from what I'm
echoing
gathering,
Shivan said,
what
it was,
people are
and
telling
because
you.
it
But I
wasn't
also have
compulsory,
with
I
me
didn't feel the need to
teachers
take the boards
who have counseled students and have counseled teachers also. You know, we were talking about earlier of a very troubling trend. You said you've seen students who decided not to go back home the day their exams were coming because they were so scared of what their parents are going to say, what the society, like that boy said there, you know, that he feels judged even on board exams. Imagine, I mean, it's definitely not healthy to put a 10-year-old through that, but what are the kind of experiences that you hear of?
Yeah, board exams not only put pressure on students but on teachers as well. So teachers get confused about their sense of purpose and kind of pedagogy they should adopt in schools. So rather than preparing students to be on their individual trajectory of learning, they tend to prepare students for appearing in board exams only. So this puts teachers, parents and
not building themselves, just building their report card.
Yeah, yeah. So they puts pressure. It becomes a culture of performing in intense pressure rather than enjoying learning.
And you say teachers go through that as well.
Yes.
I also have with me another teacher here. Ma'am, we were discussing earlier that it is a scary thought to start with, to have a class, a 10-year-old, class 5 and class 8. I mean, this is the time where technically textbooks shouldn't really matter. They should be out in the open. What has been your experience?
Yeah, so I feel that this system has already been very obsessed with the assessment itself. So as Kapila has also rightly pointed out, that the joy of learning somewhere goes out, like as if the quality education is the only purpose, then how does it, why a crippling system of examination is the only means to determine that quality? So this is something which comes to me strangely, and we were earlier talking about the culture of competition. So this is high time when we move from a culture of competition to a culture of cooperation. Rather, as I was talking about the reading campaigns in the schools which were launched, we could see that the peer help actually came to the rescue of students, and they were taught more by their own peers. So we rather need to cultivate a culture of cooperation rather than a culture of competition.
Forget the competition, more about cooperation. Hold that thought. We'll slip into a short break now. On the other side, we'll also talk about the other aspects of this new change. It means Sanskrit, yoga and physical education all compulsory from nursery onwards. Stay tuned, there's more on the other side.